He was a popular, talented actor, and I was his agent. After 10 years at the top, he called a press conference to announce a lavish celebrity wedding. Overjoyed, I went to order my wedding gown, but the moment the bride and groom were announced to come on stage, his Chloe stepped onto the wedding stage before me. Seeing the love in his eyes for Chloe, I was completely thrown off. That night, I received a video from Chloe. Julian, a cigarette dangling from his lips, said nonchalantly, "Why should I love her just because she promoted me and loved me? Playing dumb is what I do best." Those words pierced my heart like thorns. Tears streamed down my face, and my whole body trembled. 10 years together, only for me to be made a fool of. Unable to stomach it, I drove to Julian's house late that night. I opened the door only to find two people intimately embracing on the sofa. Julian. I clenched my fists and spoke his name. Julian, still on the sofa, gently told the woman next to him, "Darling, go back to the room first." I had never heard such tenderness from him before. I'd only thought he was cold-hearted by nature. Now I knew he wasn't cold. He just didn't love me. Chloe, clad in skimpy lingerie, deliberately bumped into me as she passed. She whispered in my ear, "Grace, it's our wedding night tonight. It's really not appropriate for you to be here. You've seen how much Julian loves me, so why humiliate yourself?" I glanced at her figure, curvaceous and alluring. Any man would easily be captivated, coupled with the lace pattern of her lingerie. She looked even more seductive. Julian had asked me to wear something similar before, but I thought it was too provocative and refused. Chloe noticed my gaze, and placing her hands on her hips with a hint of pride, she said, "What? Jealous of my figure? I heard that when you two were together. You never showed off your body. Since you're so conservative, don't blame me for taking the lead. Now, you two are just business partners. He never loved you. You know." I froze, my eyes on Julian, waiting for his response. He merely nodded coldly. "Before, I just thought you were capable, but for 10 years, you've treated me like a child. I'm tired. I want you to know, I'm not a toy in your hands. What I want is an obedient girl like Chloe, not a woman like you, fierce as a tiger." I looked at Julian and asked, "All that love between us before, it was all just an act, wasn't it?" Julian simply replied, "It's all an adult game. Why take it so seriously? If you're willing, you can still be my agent. We can still be the powerhouse duo everyone talks about." I sneered and nodded. Then I slapped Chloe across the face. She lost her footing and her head hit the wall. Julian's eyes flickered. He stood up and slapped me. "Grace, what do you mean by that? She's my woman." I didn't hesitate to slap him again. "A woman you haven't even officially tied the knot with at the courthouse. That so-called lavish celebrity wedding is just a child's game. Why should I care? Besides, I'm the one who promoted Chloe. With just one word from me, do you think she'd still have a future? And you, I personally cultivated you. I can make you famous, and I can destroy you. Since you call it an adult game, I'll play to the end." Director's play requires you to portray a scholar, someone without emotional experience. Looking at you now, you absolutely can't take that role. I'll have to decline it for you, and Evans's movie too. I listed his current popular film offers, then deleted the contracts one by one from my phone. His eyes were bloodshot, and he clenched his fists. Finally, he knelt beside me. "Grace, you know we haven't officially tied the knot. I was just trying to provoke you. Why do you have to be so difficult? Let me go." And let her go too. This was the second time I'd seen him kneel before me. The first was 10 years ago when I advised against him signing with my company. He knelt and begged me, saying he wanted to make a name for himself and earn enough money to marry me. I relented. This second time, he was begging me to let them both go. 10 years, and my heart had been burned beyond recognition. I was truly exhausted. For her, you'd go this far. There's no affection left between us. Let's terminate the contract. The penalty for breach of contract is 5 million. Julian looked at me, stood up from the floor, and fiercely gripped my throat. "Why should I terminate the contract with you? I didn't do anything wrong. You're the one who's always been wrong. Do you think I can't destroy you?" I forced out a few words from my constricted throat. "Then try it." My mind replayed our past. In the beginning, he had no fame. I took him to attend business dinners, and we'd drink until our stomachs bled, just to secure one film offer. During our toughest times, we couldn't even afford rent. We moved into a cold, damp basement, and he'd warm my hands, When he earned his first paycheck, he bought me 999 roses, telling me that no matter what I wanted in the future, he would buy it for me. We once loved each other passionately. He even spent all his savings to take me away from my previous company. For me. But there were always entangled interests between us. He resented me for being consumed by work, and I found his daily lack of ambition frustrating. Our feelings wore away day by day. We constantly hurt each other, trying to change each other's minds. Until today, my humiliation gave him satisfaction. But to me, such methods were childish, and this became the last straw. Julian looked at me, and his eyes cleared instantly. Grace, I didn't mean it. Don't blame me. I won't terminate the contract with you. We'll always be tied together. Then you'll be ruined by me. I gasped for air, left those words, and turned to leave. Julian frantically pulled at me. I forcefully shoved him to the ground. That night, I cried all night. The next day, with swollen eyes, I went to the company, preparing to submit the contract termination, but was one step ahead of me. She went to Mr. Henry to resign. Mr. Henry, Julian and I are resigning together. This is our application. I will fully take over Julian's schedule from now on, and Julian is agreeable. I heard everything clearly from the doorway. Pushing the door open, I didn't see Julian. Why didn't Julian come with you? I said to Chloe. My thoughts are Julian's thoughts, so I came by myself. Just as I was about to speak, Mr. Henry coughed, interrupting me. He frowned slightly, looked at me, and said, "Handle this yourselves through negotiation. The company's interests must come first." I understood Mr. Henry's meaning, intending to lead Chloe out, but pushed my hand away directly. Negotiate? Why should I negotiate with you? You're not Mr. Henry. If I consulted with you, you'd just take us for all we're worth. Ignoring what she said, I dragged her forcefully into my office. She became even more brazen in her shouting. Mr. Henry trusts you so much. Have you two been sleeping together all along? Pretending to be innocent here? Let go of me. I belong to Julian now. How dare you treat me like this? Are you afraid I'll expose your affair with Mr. Henry? I directly splashed a cup of iced coffee on her. Stop barking. This is a company. Even if it were Julian slandering me like this, I'd treat him the same way. We had a relationship before, but now that we've burned bridges, do you still expect me to save face for you? You want to take Julian with you? Of course. That's fine. Mr. Henry also said the $5 million breach of contract fee can be paid within 3 days. You can go back and discuss it with Julian now and see if he's willing. I knew Julian's calculating self-interest all too well. $5 million for breach of contract would be like asking for his life. He probably wouldn't agree to terminate it. Chloe was furious, wiping the liquid from her body with a tissue. How dare you treat me like this? You're bullying an employee. My hand just slipped. I apologize. I smiled indifferently, not caring at all. After all these years, I'd seen all kinds of people dealing with such small fries. I remained perfectly composed. Chloe looked at me and suddenly sneered. Grace, the more you act like this toward me, the more it proves you can't let go of Julian. We're all women. Why be so stubborn? Sometimes, a woman gets more by being a little softer. Look, I relentlessly pursued Julian, and now I'm pregnant. Do you really think that lavish celebrity wedding was just him trying to provoke you? What a fool. Chloe's words successfully stirred my emotions. Staring at Chloe's belly, I clenched my fists. So, they already had a child. How many times had I wanted to have a child with Julian? But he always said I was too busy with work and had no time to care for a baby, always pushing it off until later. All these years, hadn't I worked hard precisely so our future family would be without any worries? Now, he'd so easily had a child with another woman. Why didn't he dare tell me about the child himself? Did he know he owed me an apology and couldn't bring himself to say it? If you're going to be a mother, cut down on the schemes and be a better person for your child's sake, I said, suppressing my anger. Chloe still wanted to act superior, but my gaze instantly turned icy. I'm letting you go now. If you dare to pester me any further, you might not walk out of here, perhaps intimidated by my stare. Chloe gulped. I won't let you get away with this. I'll use every means possible. Just wait for the day you lose everything. I stared at her retreating back. I didn't care about her threats at all, though I yearned to destroy her child. But I was pregnant too. Putting myself in her shoes, I couldn't do it, but I felt as if my soul had been ripped out. I discovered I was pregnant a month ago. I never planned to tell Julian, wanting only to have the child myself, knowing he wouldn't let me keep it if I did. When I heard he was going to hold a lavish celebrity wedding, I thought it was a surprise for me after he found out. In the end, it was nothing but a farce. He had no idea my child existed. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to know. No matter what, I would keep the child myself. That night, I took prenatal medication, but still felt a faint discomfort in my lower abdomen. I wanted to call an ambulance to go to the hospital for a checkup. Just as I picked up my phone, I heard the lock being opened again. I knew it was Julian. I knew he would come, but I hadn't expected him so soon. He opened the door, standing coldly outside. "What? Here to defend your little mistress?" I retorted with a hint of defiant sarcasm. Julian ignored my words, rushing forward to grab my clothes. "I never thought you could be so cruel. That was my child. Why did you abort her? Why would you vent your hatred on the child? You're just trying to force me to terminate the contract, aren't you? You just can't stand to see me do well. What are you talking about? Are you insane?" I endured the sharp pain in my lower abdomen and pushed away the raving Julian. "I'm pregnant too. I did think about giving you a taste of your own medicine, but I never intended to harm your child." Julian's eyes glazed over when he heard that. Then he said viciously, "Grace, is your way of getting back at me by carrying another man's bastard child? You and that Mr. Henry are indeed having an affair. Cheating during a relationship isn't anything good either. So how dare you accuse me? And you're taking out your anger on my child. It's just a contract termination." "Fine. I agree." I clenched my fists, words of further explanation on the tip of my tongue, but curses made me swallow them back down. It seemed Julian already saw me as that kind of person. In a fit of pique, I confirmed the accusation. "Yes, I cheated. I can't stand to see you succeed, because I think you don't deserve it. You're only fit to be an obedient dog under my command. As long as you don't follow my wishes, I'll destroy you. Are you satisfied now? The contract termination paperwork is ready. Just transfer the money." The gloomy weather outside finally broke, and a heavy downpour began. Raindrops lashed against the window, their sound clear. Our eyes met in a standoff, neither of us willing to back down. A minute later, Julian gave up the fight, sinking dejectedly onto the sofa. "You're always like this, never seeing anything good in me. How long are we going to keep tormenting each other? You know, I once loved you so much, but you never reciprocated. Don't you think I know about Chloe's relentless pursuit and sweet talk? But I just love her, because she understands what I want better than you. For roles I didn't care for, she found ways to help me turn them down, and secretly contacted directors to get me auditions for film offers that truly utilized my artistic value. Events I didn't want to attend, directors I didn't want to cater to, she'd understand with just a glance and find excuses to get me out of there. You never did any of that. Even when I wanted to intimately embrace you, the first thing you'd tell me was that we had work tomorrow and shouldn't waste energy. Chloe would never do that. That's the difference between you two." Julian enumerated Chloe's virtues. My heart ached as if it was being gouged out. "Yes, she understands you. But what made you famous today were all the roles you disliked but were right for you. And those business dinners, with directors present, a few extra words, one more drink, and it was an opportunity. Who would ever complain about too few opportunities? Look around the entertainment industry, whoever rests. Everyone is scrambling to get ahead. Only you didn't strive. Chloe gave you a little sweetness, and you turned around and left with her. You even misunderstood my child. Even her miscarriage, you misunderstood everything about me." This was the first time I'd poured out my grievances to Julian. How I wished my softening would earn me a word of understanding from him, but didn't listen at all. Still confronting me, whether it's a misunderstanding or not. "You know perfectly well, you owe me my child's life. I won't let you off." "Then you'd better never let me off. How about using the child in my womb to atone for it?" I waited for Julian, but after saying those harsh words, my lower abdomen really started to cramp agonizingly. I no longer had the strength to utter another word. Julian froze, calling my name. Realizing I was truly suffering, he carried me to the hospital. When I woke up again, Julian wasn't there. I was alone. On my phone was a 5 million transfer, and a message from Julian: "Your child is gone. We're quits." Tears streamed down my face without warning. I touched my flat abdomen, sobbing silently. Finally, I burst out, "Julian, that was your child too. Why did you never try to understand me? Not even a little bit? But no one heard. In the dead of night, my mind was filled with the 10 years of ups and downs with Julian. In his eyes, I was domineering and cold. In my eyes, he was careless and loved to hear flattery. We were always an ill-suited pair. Over 10 years of entangled interests, our feelings for each other had long been worn away completely, even turning into open hostility. But I couldn't accept it. I hadn't done anything to Chloe. So how could her child be gone? Why was this accusation pinned on me, and for my child to pay with their life for it? A month later, I had recovered. I went back to work as usual, and everyone received an invitation to Julian and Chloe's gathering, including me. They claimed that they hadn't officially tied the knot when they held the lavish celebrity wedding before, and now that the paperwork was done, they were having a celebratory gathering. Even on my invitation, Julian's handwriting penned a message: we were young and reckless, tormenting each other in the past. Now, let's part ways amicably and hopefully remain friends. I scoffed, taking that high-sounding invitation, and went to his gathering. Julian, you want to let go, but I can't. At a luxurious estate in the Hollywood, 2 gardens shimmered, showcasing utmost grandeur. The formerly naive young man now exuded the elegance of a gentleman in every gesture. Chloe, who once cried begging me for a job, was now adorned in a designer gown, graceful and poised. Everyone at the gathering was an industry insider. When discussing their love story, they inevitably mentioned me. A bitter smile touched my lips, and I walked between the two of them. Julian and Chloe were making a celebratory toast amidst the crowd. Seeing me abruptly standing before them, they paused. Grace, you're here. What happened before? We were both too young. I'm so glad you could come to our gathering this time. Let's have a drink together and bury the hatchet. Chloe elegantly raised her stemmed glass. I glanced at Julian. What do you think? A drink together? Julian nodded, raising his own glass. I had no interest in wasting sentiment and spoke directly. Only a month, and you two have already buried the hatchet so quickly. Impressive. Truly befitting those in the entertainment industry. Chloe instantly became flustered and awkward. Grace, what kind of things are you saying? Julian's face darkened. Grace, are you here to cause trouble? I've already transferred the contract termination money to you. What more do you want? I just want everyone to see what despicable deeds you've done behind the glamorous facade. I scoffed, then swept the table holding the champagne pyramid with the back of my hand. Glass shattered and wine splashed everywhere. It was just like the downpour on the day of my child's miscarriage. The eyes of the surrounding guests instantly converged, and some even began to whisper. Grace, what are you doing? Let bygones be bygones. Julian frowned, constrained by appearances, unable to publicly feud with me. I smiled sweetly. You can move on. But I can't. Do you remember? We once discussed whether we'd still be friends if we ever broke up. You said with certainty that we absolutely had to be friends, because we'd been together for so long. Back then, I thought you were so innocent, so kind. But now I ask you, did you not know about Chloe's fake pregnancy, and pinning the miscarriage on me? Did you not know why the child in my womb couldn't be saved? What are you saying? Didn't you do all of this yourself? Do you have to say it out loud and make everyone here embarrassed? And your child? That was an accident. Julian smashed the wineglass in his hand to the ground. He had reached his limit. He looked as if he wanted to kill me. Thinking of the child I lost, tears welled up in my eyes, meeting his bloodshot eyes. I was on the verge of blurting out the truth. At that crucial moment, Chloe hypocritically grabbed my arm. Grace, we're both unfortunate souls. Let's not dwell on the past. You'll find the man of your dreams someday. We'll have children again someday too. Get lost. I pushed Chloe away. She stumbled to the ground, her face contorted in pain, but I wouldn't let it go. I walked over to her, my high heels stepping on Chloe's stomach. If you won't speak, then you answer my questions. Tell me, what does it feel like to be pregnant? In the first few months, what did you feel with a baby in your belly? At the crucial moment, I lifted my foot, looking at her now dirty designer gown, and said nonchalantly, you can't answer, can you? Because you were never truly pregnant. Fake pregnancy. A dramatic scheme. You shoved it all onto me. You deserve to die. When I uttered those words, the surrounding guests gasped. Whispers erupted. They said Chloe was the newcomer who took the lead. But I didn't expect her methods to be so vicious. No wonder their 10-year relationship suddenly fractured. It seems Chloe was behind it all. I heard Chloe was personally mentored by Grace before. Who knew she'd be such a menace? Julian, hearing all this, chose to ignore it. He embraced Chloe on the ground. Chloe couldn't possibly lie about this. Don't slander her. She kept quiet about her pregnancy because she was afraid of burdening me. Given the circumstances then, I was indeed always hesitant between you and her. But now I understand that Chloe and I are the best fit. I love her. What I felt for you was just an illusion of companionship that lasted too long. She might flirt with me and tell some white lies. But how could a pregnancy be faked? If you feel that I wronged you in our 10-year relationship, then I'll give you a satisfactory apology today. With that, Julian picked up a piece of broken glass from the floor, about to slash his arm. Julian. No! Chloe's face was full of heartache as she helped Julian to his feet. She walked toward me, pressing closer with each step. Grace, I really was pregnant. After our argument that day, I had agonizing abdominal pain, and by the time I rushed to the hospital, I had lost the baby. I've never lied to anyone. Chloe had Chloe fetch a medical report and flung it in front of me. Julian glanced at it too, instantly gaining confidence. Chloe's lips curled into a smile. I know you lost your child, so you're resentful and can't let it go. But there's no need to pursue revenge against me. After all, I wasn't responsible for your miscarriage. Do you think a medical report proves you were pregnant? This medical report is photoshopped. Do you think I can't tell? I'm sure there are photographers here. Why don't we let them verify if it's real? When I said that, Chloe visibly panicked. Julian, however, didn't notice. He even proactively handed the report to a photographer he trusted. The photographer, at first glance, began to look troubled. Finally, urged by Julian, he stammered, It's photoshopped. How could that be? Look again. Look carefully. Julian frowned deeply. The photographer confirmed it several times, still stating it was photoshopped. In an instant, Julian's gaze turned chilling. Chloe quickly tried to cover, grabbing Julian's arm. This report must have been given to me by Chloe by mistake. How could it be photoshopped? How about we go to the hospital tomorrow and check my medical records? I couldn't possibly lie. Julian, you know what kind of person I am. I don't lie. Doubt already flickered in Julian's eyes. But I spoke directly. I've been to every hospital in the city to check medical records, and Chloe's name isn't on any of them. I even found out from a fertility specialist that Chloe has been undergoing fertility treatments for conception. This is her prescription record. I pulled the evidence from my bag. During the months you were supposedly pregnant and then had a miscarriage, you were seeing a fertility specialist for prescribed remedies for conception. Don't you find that contradictory? Seeing's mortified expression filled me with satisfaction. I also secretly cursed Chloe for being so foolish. Julian trusted her so much, yet she thought she was clever, causing them both to humiliate themselves publicly. Julian looked at the records from the fertility specialist, confirming they weren't photoshopped. He stared at Chloe with resentment. Why did you lie to me? I was scared. I was afraid you'd choose Grace over me. But I truly love you. I can't live without you. I could only frame her like this to keep you by my side. Julian, it's just because I love you too much. Chloe was sobbing uncontrollably. I, on the other hand, felt a pang of emotion. I had never shown such vulnerability to Julian. Was this the kind of girl Julian liked? Julian looked at Chloe, and in the end, his heart softened. His anger dissipated with her constant Julian. Julian. He grabbed my hand and confessed, if you want to blame someone, blame me. That day I took you to the hospital. I deliberately delayed the surgery, which resulted in you losing your child. At the time, I thought you had harmed my child, so I believed in a life for a life. I have no regrets, but I truly didn't realize you were innocent. I'm sorry. I will do my best to compensate you in the future. Compensate me with what? If I hadn't gone back to the hospital after my miscarriage to verify the procedures with the nurse after I collapsed, I wouldn't have known the child could have been saved. It was you who deliberately delayed, and then just walked away, and my child was simply gone. Julian, do you know that was your child? Your love is truly so over the top, trampling over your own child's flesh and blood just to be together. I truly wish you a terrible death. Speaking of the child, a convulsive pain seized my heart. What wrong did he do? He hadn't even fully formed yet. All these years, I've never wronged you. Your time in the spotlight in the entertainment industry came from my constant guidance. And even the $5 million you transferred to me came from my own savings. Do you know that if I reported this to the police, you'd be arrested immediately? I had always thought it was a misunderstanding, but the truth I learned that day shattered all my illusions. Julian's admission now sounded like a small mistake that could be fixed with a mere apology. But who would compensate me for the wounds in my heart? For my child? For 10 years of my youth? Julian hadn't expected me to say these things. He froze, then trembled as he asked, "You said, whose child was it?" "It was my child." "You're lying to me, aren't you?" Julian's eyes reddened. I looked at him, saying nothing, but he broke down. "Impossible. You're lying to me. You're only saying this to get back at me. I clearly saw your illicit affair with Mr. Henry. You've been cheating on me behind my back for a long time, and I never exposed it. I'm not the one who made a mistake. And that child couldn't possibly be mine." Julian frantically pulled out photos from his phone. I looked at the pictures, sliding through them one by one. I couldn't help but scoff. The person in the photos resembles me in the eyes and brows. But it's not me. I have a mole on my shoulder. She doesn't. Even the Mr. Henry in the photos isn't the Mr. Henry. He just has a similar build. I never imagined such poor quality photos, which anyone could tell were staged with a bit of discernment, had fooled Julian. Instead, he had used them to question me. Julian suddenly realized, turning to glare at Chloe. Chloe was trembling beside him, shaking her head repeatedly. I don't know anything. These were sent to me by the paparazzi. I even paid a hefty sum to buy out that scandal. I was deceived too. Julian, please don't be angry, okay? I truly don't know anything. Chloe cried as she spoke, tears streaming down her face. But this time, Julian's expression turned cold. He pushed her away. The fake pregnancy was unintentional, and you were unaware of slandering Grace about cheating. How many more things are you hiding from me? Tell me everything clearly. Chloe was unwilling to give up, even trying to step forward to kiss Julian. He violently pushed her away. She fell to the ground, scraping her arm. Julian remained unmoved, and the surrounding people only looked on with disgust. Chloe had lost everything completely. She simply laughed out loud. Yes, I did it all. From the first day I entered this industry, I was sick of dancing to Grace's tune every single day. We all make a living in this industry. Why couldn't I manage artists like her? I could even steal her boyfriend. Julian, do you think you're some prize? How much capital did Grace build up for you over the years? Didn't you still accuse her of exploiting you daily? If you didn't harbor resentment towards her, how could I have seduced you so easily? Between the two of us, who truly wronged Grace more? Bitch. Julian slapped her, and blood seeped from Chloe's lips. It's all your fault. You ruined my peaceful life. Why don't you just die? Me die? You, who personally killed your own child, are the one truly sinful. You're the one who should die. A faint, almost imperceptible smile touched Chloe's lips. I had a vague premonition. The next second, Chloe plunged a piece of broken glass directly into Julian's heart. I'm sick of pampering you and indulging you every day. You're an insatiable jerk. Julian. I instinctively rushed to him, pushing Chloe away. Chloe ranted hysterically, and the people present fell into chaos. She spoke of her unwillingness and grievances. I quickly called an ambulance. As I accompanied Julian into the vehicle, he was still conscious, gripping my hand and saying, I know I was wrong. Please, come back to me. I nodded, just as I had agreed to be with him 10 years ago. But watching Julian being wheeled into the operating room, I turned and walked away. On the street, I wandered aimlessly, tears soaking my face. In that moment, I knew everything was truly over. We had created a devastating, heart-wrenching spectacle. My phone was filled with headlines about us. Just as I had told Julian years ago, if we parted amicably, we'd be strangers. But if he wronged me, I would create a huge public scene, then turn around and be myself again. Over these 10 years, Julian had actually been the most difficult to please, always wanting more, never satisfied, and I had always paved the way for him, relentlessly striving on his behalf, without a single complaint. Over time, everything I did became expected. He even believed that no matter who his agent was, he would be famous just the same, but he forgot that for capital, promoting someone was just a word away. I arrived home and saw Chloe squatting by the door. When she saw me, she lunged forward, tearing at me, blaming me for ruining everything for her, demanding compensation. I no longer had the strength to argue. I ruined everything for you too? Then tell me, who ruined everything for me? I've lived freely, loving passionately and hating fiercely, never plotting against anyone behind their back. If not for your schemes, how would I have ended up like this? This is your karma. You brought it all upon yourself. Chloe spoke venomously, but I was already so tired. I had Chloe call the police. Ultimately, Chloe was sentenced for intentional assault. After was out of danger. He kept asking to see me, but I refused. I also hired a lawyer to pursue the $5 million transferred from my account, along with the charge of intentionally causing the loss of a pregnancy due to his deliberate delay. He and Chloe went to prison. After this whole ordeal, I decided to take some time for myself, resigned from my agent job, and went to Santa. I successfully managed my own boutique inn. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comments section.